Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our match reaction show. It's finished Arsenal 1, Manchester City 3. Was that a decisive result in the title race? Was that? I don't think it was decisive, but I do think it is very statement making win for City, because I think City came into this game with a lot of pressure. I think there was a lot of, there were questions that were being asked. I mean, I really thought they did well against Aston Villa anyway. I think I answered a lot of those questions. But Bobby, people were thinking, well, they've lost to Spurs. They've at times in big games, they lost to Manchester United as well. They've come at times in big games away from home. They've kind of crumbled a little bit. Liverpool as well, by the way, they lost as well. So could they do that? Could they buck that trend today? And not only did they buck that trend, I think they bucked it beautifully. I think the way that City played today, Arsenal had moments, but I thought City were just by far the better team. I think they knew exactly what they wanted to, how they wanted to play, what they wanted to do. And in some ways, as I said, I think Arteta today got schooled by Pep Guardiola, by a manager who knows what it takes to win league titles. That experience is so vital, at times. Arteta has never been in a title. This is the first time. I think Pep Guardiola, if you watched, he had the air of a man who knew what it takes to win titles, who knew exactly what he had to do to win a game like this, and whose players knew what they had to do to win a game like this. So that's where it was. That's ultimately what it is. You don't get experience until you're in it. So this will be an experience for Arteta and for Arsenal. Is it one that they'll be able to recover from for this season? I mean, that's a big question, isn't it? And it's probably too early to say. They still got one more game in City at the Etihad, and that will be a tough game, but they'll have to improve a lot. Arsenal will have to improve a lot to try to win that game, but they'll have to win that game now. They have to go and they have to win that game because City have gone top on goal difference. They played a game more as well. I believe there's a game in hand for Arsenal, so it's still a bit false position. But I think Arsenal need to go and get something from that game against City. Probably most likely they need to get a win from that game. So that will now be a very important game, and we'll see if Arsenal have learned anything. But talking about this game itself, so it was Thomas Partey didn't start, and I thought that was a massive miss for Arsenal. I mean, questions have to be asked of him as well as to why he misses games like these. An important game like this, why is he missing? I mean, that is a question to be asked, and maybe they need to start looking at a proper replacement, a proper backup for him. I know it's tough, but they need to look at answers, because without him, yes, I don't think Jorginho had a bad game today, but you realize that they miss something. They do miss something when he's not there. So they need to think about that long and hard. I was surprised Tomiyasu started. At first, I thought maybe it's a decision because Ben White hasn't been that good. But I also think that maybe he shouldn't have started this game. Not because he made those mistakes, but because he hasn't played a lot of football. He hasn't played a lot of football in the last few weeks. So you don't start a game like this. As a defender, it's probably difficult to start a game like this when you haven't played a lot. It's a high intensity game. I don't think White had done particularly badly. I know he hasn't been good, but he hasn't been bad to the point where you go, right, I don't want him in the side. So I thought he should have kept faith with White for this one, but that was okay. I thought Trossard should have started instead of Martinelli. Again, I don't think Martinelli had a bad game, but he wasn't impactful, and Trossard had scored a goal in the last game. And sometimes as an offensive player, you need to make you had to make that change. But I think defensively you should have gone with what he had. But at the end of the day, those were decisions that you make. I know there's a lot of question about Pep Guardiola's tactics. Again, what I do think what Pep Guardiola is trying to do with this 3-6-1 that he's playing, I think he's saying to teams, they play with the midfield 5, or they play with the 3 in midfield. So we're gonna play with 6. We're gonna play 4 and 6. Because then we'll have advantage in midfield. Pep Guardiola is always about midfield battles, midfield control. That's what he wants. So that's why he plays 6 in midfield. And what it also means by playing 6 in midfield is you then don't have to compensate as much for Haaland's inability, because oftentimes when they used to play 4-3-3, the striker was also a midfielder. In effect, he was like a 6th midfielder. So that's what he wants. Haaland can't be that. Haaland is never going to be a 6th midfielder. He's always going to be a striker. So he plays an extra midfielder instead. The problem is your 2 wing backs who play, which is usually Grealish and Mahrez, they're not defensively capable. So you're losing that battle on the wings, and that's where the dangers come. So that's why they're not able to keep clean sheets despite winning games and dominating games, because they dominate that midfield. They're not able to keep clean sheets because they're always exposed on those wings, because the 2 wing backs are not defensively sound. So maybe that's something to fix as well. But nonetheless, the first goal, again, Tomiyasu, right? Lack of match practice. That happens. The pass goes a bit wayward. Maybe White would have done better. There was a theme there as well. I'll talk about that as well. But it just felt that was a careless pass, a casual pass from a player who's not played a lot, who's a bit rusty. But that finish from De Bruyne is just fantastic. At first, I thought, okay, it's a good finish. It's he's one-on-one the goalkeeper, but actually, it's a fantastic finish. The way he angles it, the way he's got to get it right in that corner, because Ramsdale is out of his line, because you can kind of catch it. If it's too high, it goes over. If it's too low, he catches it. He's got to get it right, and then he's got to get it in the frame of that goal, because again, If he's off, then it goes wide. So it was a very good finish, wonderful finish from De Bruyne. Some people might have said that he was finished, but you know what? He's not. He's not finished. He's just adapting to this new role, and he will look good. And yeah, it was 1-0. And Arsenal fought. They fought and they got back into it. Was that a penalty? I don't think that was a penalty. I will say I think it was a very harsh decision. And then the fact is Arsenal, and in a week where we talked about Arsenal not getting decisions going their way, they got one to go their way. Maybe that was the compensation that we sometimes get. But it was not a penalty for me. It was definitely not a penalty. But Ederson does. The thing is, Ederson's running towards Nketiah. Nketiah has already taken the shot. So whatever Ederson does after does not impact Nketiah's shot. Nketiah has already taken the shot. So I don't see how that's a penalty, because the goalkeeper can't stop himself from running towards the play. His momentum is just going to carry you, and so that's what it is. They're saying that so for me that's not a penalty. But the Saka did well to take it. I thought he would have missed it the way his body language was, but he took it well and he scored, and it's 1-1. Just hoping maybe Arsenal can do better in the second half, that they can get control of that game in the second half, and they did, and they tried to. They maybe got for a second. Then Pep Guardiola makes a change. He says, "Fine, I'm going to take off Mahrez and I'm going to bring on Kanji," and they move to a 4-3-3. The impact of that 4-3-3 means that of course now they've got two proper fullbacks. Yes, they might lose a little bit of the midfield initiative, maybe, but we've got proper wingers now that can actually target the fullbacks. And I think that was the important key. And of course, give ourselves defensive protection. But Bernardo Silva offers so much defensive protection. He's not an out-and-out defender, but as a defensive protector, he's pretty good. So that's the role that he needs to be playing. He's not supposed to be the guy who's going to play as an auxiliary left back, left centre back. No, he's the guy who's a winger or a midfielder, and he will provide support to that defense. I think that change made a big difference. But that second goal, though, from Arsenal is so sloppy. The thing that Arsenal tried to do this whole game, it happened with the first goal, it happened with the second goal, was the fact that they were always trying to play out from the back. They're always trying to find a pass, and that's good and that's commendable. But sometimes you've got to know that that's not the best route to take, because Tomiyasu can hook it clear towards the touchline. Instead, he tries to be clever and passes it to Ramsdale, and that's what causes the first goal. The second goal, Gabriel should be playing it back to the goalkeeper. There's no need to try and play a forward pass from that position, but he tries to play a forward pass because he's trying to play out on the back. There were a couple of incidents before the goal as well where they tried to play out on the back and got caught. And then, the offside flag saved the offside flag saved Gabriel. That was a different play where that should have been a penalty. That would have actually been a controversial decision as well. Was it a penalty? It seemed like a 50-50 at the time. And I'm sure both sides would have had grievances if whichever decision the referee would have given. So thankfully the offside flag kind of killed that. But I believe there was a chance after that as well. Ramsdale kind of just dwelled on it, and Zinchenko lost the ball. And Haaland couldn't finish, otherwise that could have been 2-1 as well. So there were moments, and just after there was another moment where they kind of played out. They actually did very well playing out from the back in that situation. But in this instance with Gabriel, he's trying to be clever by trying to play a forward pass, and what he does is he just loses the ball and gives it to Haaland. And then Haaland goes past it to Gundogan. It goes out to Grealish. Tomiyasu again gets in the way, because otherwise Ramsdale has that covered, but Tomiyasu gets in the way. It's a bit unlucky because he doesn't know what to do, right? I mean, when the shot comes in, your instinct is always to go for a dive. So you can't really fault a defender for that, because he's not knowing which way the shot is going to go. The dive is always about, well, whichever way it goes, I'm going to try and block it. So it's a bit unlucky from Tomiyasu's perspective, but the goal should never got to that point because Gabriel was the one at fault. It's 2-1. You just felt that 2-1 City were going to win it. I mean, there was a bit of a spell for Arsenal, but you never really thought Arsenal were going to get back into it. I mean, Nketiah had a chance, but he never got, couldn't get his leg onto it. And then as City went and scored the third goal. That was the City goal. That was a typical City goal, wasn't it? Gundogan to De Bruyne to Haaland. Haaland finishes it off. It's 3-1. An important goal for Haaland as well. First time in 4 games that he has scored, but also the fact that he's scoring against a big team away from home, I think will give him confidence as well. Not that he needs any, but at least he will get that monkey off his back as well. So 3-1 to Arsenal, fantastic performance. I mean, 3-1 win to City rather, and it was a fantastic performance, of course, for Manchester City. I mean, nothing to take away from them. Arsenal were the masters of their own demise, and again, something to learn from this as well, that sometimes you can stick to your principles, but it's also good to be flexible and adaptable. And I think if they had been that way, today Arsenal would have realized we're not supposed to play out from the back. Where we can try it, but whenever we are in doubt, we will clear the ball. But yet they kept trying to play out from the back. They kept trying to play out from the back, and at some point it was going to catch up to them, and it got caught up to them when Gabriel did that mistake that he did for that second goal. So these are things that you need to learn, and these are things they will learn. I think City is but City are battle hardened, right? They've been in title races for like 5-6 years now. And they've been 5 years. This is the 6th year now that they're in a title race, so they know what to do. They know how they're going to do. I mean, and don't forget, don't discount the fact that there's squad depth, right? I mean, you lose a couple of players, it doesn't matter. City, the juggernaut, still just rolls on. Arsenal lose a couple of players, they don't look the same team. United lose a couple of players, they don't look the same team. City could lose like 5-6 players and they still look the same team. So that is a big point as well. And that's why it's very, very tough to beat Manchester City. And that's why I feel at this point in time, I think Manchester City are favorites. They always were favorites, but if anybody thought they were not, they are favorites now to go on and win the title, just because they know once they get in front, they know how to stay in front. I mean, the key to winning titles against City is you don't let them get in front. If you let them get in front, then they'll just keep going and going. It's like a train. But as long as you can keep them behind, you can keep them behind. So it'll be interesting to see what Arsenal do from here. The game against Villa now is going to be a very, very tough litmus test for Arsenal, and we'll have to see what they do there. They need to win that. They need to win. I think from this point on, Arsenal need to be pretty much perfect from here if they want to win the title. But like I said, this does feel like a statement-making win for City, one that's going to probably get them on a run. And they've got the Champions League coming as well. That's a tournament that they want to win. So let's see what happens. But let me know your thoughts on the game. I think man of the match, I think I've got to give it to Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, he got the goal, he got the assist. He looked good, maybe a little bit anonymous before the goal, but after that, he was just sensational in that second half. He ran that game. So for me, it's Kevin De Bruyne. Let me know. I know Ruben Dias had a pretty good game as well, and maybe some people might want to give him the man of the match as well. So you can't go wrong with Ruben Dias as well. But let me know what you thought of the game. Of course, share your comments on the game, the man of the match, on Arsenal chances for the title, City's chances for the title. Would love to hear from you. Do smash a like if you enjoyed this video, of course. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We appreciate your support. Keep those likes and those subscribes coming. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.